Well, this ought to be a new one. Everything failed a couple of weeks ago. Camper tires, camper suspension, slide out awning cover, brackets, skylight internals, tire changer, and everything barfed. And then while I was inflating the last tire, the last two tires on the camper, my air compressor died. It just stopped doing anything. I've taken it apart, taken the belt off. The belt's fine. Compressor itself is super smooth. That's not my problem. But the motor was acting kind of weird. So it's plugged in right now. Let's see if it'll do it again. And there it goes. So even running, that's a 20 amp fuse. So, and it had barfed on the 15 even faster the last time. So even running completely unloaded, the motor is now pulling over 20 amps. You could hear it. It didn't sound right. It feels okay. Let's unplug it before I start jacking with it. All right, good enough. I have to go reset the breaker, but it feels okay. Really, you don't even hear any bearings, but something in this thing has died. And I don't even honestly remember where I bought this thing. I think it was at Fleet Farm in Appleton, Wisconsin. Probably back in about 1995. And it's got oil in it. It's nice and clean. I've actually done an oil change on it once in 20 years. It's still nice and clean. It's got the right level. Filters are good. Everything's good, but the motor's dead. So we're going to go flip the breaker and get some lights back on this thing, pull this motor, see what we got to do to figure out what we need. Alright, so there's the specs. 120, 240, 240, no kidding. 34, that was 3,600 RPM or 3,450, a lot of slip, not a very efficient motor. 15 or 7.5 amps. And there we go. So what I'm wondering, because the motor's fine, I mean, the bearings are good. There's nothing in there that feels bad. I'm wondering if it's got start caps and stuff up here, which may be my issue. If the caps have just gone bad. And so we're going to get a little tiny flathead or a, I don't know, 5/16 or smaller. See if we can pop these covers off, see what's under them, see if there's some capacitors under those things. Alright, so I do not have an instrument with the ability to check capacitance. So that's kind of stinky. But sure enough, exactly what that is. But we're going to dig into this and see. Yep. What we oh, kind of ballooned. Yep, that's not what you want to see. This one's kind of stuck in there. I'm going to pry him out, see if we can get it out, and I may only need a couple of capacitors. Because this one is, once they start swelling like that, you've got a problem. That's not what you want. So let me get this one out of there and then we'll take a closer look. Yep, I think I have lost a capacitor. The big one that's blown seems to be a 40 microfarad, 370 volt, 50-60 hertz, 70C, and a bunch of random gibberish. The other one, which appears to be okay, it's not bulged at all, it seems to be smooth, seems to be 145 to 174 microfarad, 220 volt. So, I don't know. But I think what I'm going to do now is see if I can source a couple of these guys for a few $1,000,000 rather than buying a new motor, because the motor feels fine. I mean, it's better than the wheel bearings on most of my cars, I would say. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to unplug these, and then we are going to go see if we can find some replacements. Not much to the hookup. It's just one to one side, one to the other. One to one side, one to the other. And maybe that'll get my compressor working again. Let's hope. Unless a motor's cheaper. Which it might be. We'll see. Alright, well, after about 20 minutes of Google engineering and Amazon searching, the gray one is discontinued specifically. The black one is not. So I was able to find what I believe is going to be an identical capacity replacement for this one. And I found, well, this one. So $25, and they're on their way. Should be here in a couple of days. I can't believe that that's more expensive than this motor would be. So we're going to let this sit, and when the new caps come in, we'll put them on and see if it fixed it. Otherwise, I just pissed away $25, and you guys will learn just to buy a new motor. So we'll see you then. Alright, well, Amazon finally managed to get me my Chinesium here. We've got the one that I believe that I need. And the one I don't think I need as much. But since I got them both, we're going to change them both. See if we can set this up somehow to make this work. This one really gets hammered in there. That's the black one that has the recessed top. It's not an easy installation because these wires are just super short. Trying to get it in there without touching anything. There we go. Get it in the right spot, silly. Alright. About the same size. This is the one that has the big bulge in it. Clang. I don't know that it matters which way it goes, as long as it doesn't touch off. There we go. I know the framing isn't that great, but there's not much to see. I'll show you the finished product in a second. So we turn it on, see if we can trip some breakers. Alright, well, they're back on. Not much to it, just plug the wires in and stick them in the cases and stick them in there. So, I guess the moment of truth, see if that motor runs. A lot longer than it did last time. It sounds better, it ain't buzzing as much. Let's put the belt on it. Unplug it, because that's a flimsy butt switch. Chisel off some of these damn mud daubers. Get out of here. Those things get on everything. Let's see if we can do this. There it is. All right. Let's see if it's going to work.